Thanks for tuning in to No Wine in No Time. I'm your host Dave, and today we're going to introduce you to a very special type of wine called Petillant Naturel, or pet-nat for short. This is what we would call a natural wine, and the wine is actually bottled during the initial fermentation, when the yeasts are acting upon the sugars and converting those sugars to alcohol. Because it's bottled early and capped at an early stage, it becomes naturally sparkling. And these types of wines actually predate anything that come out of Champagne, France. This is actually made by a process they call méthode ancestrale, or the ancestor of what would be modern day sparkling wines. Because in the old days, when they didn't have a control over the process, sometimes they would bottle the wine before the wine fermentation was done, and the wine would produce a frothy or bubbly type of persona. Now, these wines are wildly unpredictable and really quite fun, and because they're natural, they're meant to be drank at a very early stage. So when you buy a pet-nat in your local stores, you want to drink that probably within the first year. And as I mentioned, from bottle to bottle, it really is quite interesting as to how they'll present themselves, because they are quite different. So Petillant Naturel really doesn't have a specific appellation or location where it hails from, but in France we find it most often in the upper part of the Loire, or in the southern part of France in an area called Limoux. If we happen to see pet-nats in Italy, we won't see them called Petillant Naturel, that's French. We see them by the words col fondo. So we will see them sometimes in some of those other areas. Now, because these wines are bottled during that initial fermentation, sometimes they can be a little bit sweet. But what's interesting about a pet-nat is you could actually take the bottle and place it on your windowsill, actually let the sun impact it. That will start another fermentation, and you can actually dry out the pet-nat. So it's really kind of a fun, quirky, interesting kind of hipster kind of wine. So I have one for you today, and this one's from Cuvée Suzanne, and this one is listed as a Vin de France. In other words, it's a wine from France. But because I did some research on it, I know it's 100% Gamay. It probably is from the upper Loire, where that kind of merges into Beaujolais. So I purposely don't have the wine poured, as you can see, and I have the crown cap left on the bottle of wine. So we're going to open it, and we're going to explore this Petillant Naturel together. So let's go ahead and do that. So once again, I take and open the crown cap, and I heard a nice psst or a hiss, so that means it probably is fairly sparkling. So let's go ahead and pour it into our glass and see how it presents itself. Oh, really quite pretty. So if we take a look at this pet-nat, the first thing that we'll notice is it's clear, and sometimes pet-nats can be cloudy. Remember, they're completely natural type of wines. This one is quite clear, beautifully salmon in color, and there's beautiful bubbles dancing from the bottom. Now, because this is a sparkling wine, we do not swirl it to liberate the aromas. The bubbles will give you the aromas on their own. So if we take a sniff, I detect everything from kind of an apple to possibly a citrus type aroma. I'm not detecting anything spicy, and really the aromas are actually a little bit muted in this. Let's go ahead and take a sip. I did not stick this wine into the windowsill. I did not try to dry it out. So let's see how it presented itself as the winemaker wanted it to be. Very nice. So when I taste the Cuvée Suzanne, the first thing I notice is the bubbles make it quite refreshing. This one is not very sweet. It's actually quite dry. And the first thing that I notice that goes into my mouth is a little bit of, say, red delicious apple skin type of flavors. And then I get notes of red berries, a little bit of raspberry, a little bit of cherry, on the palate, beautiful acidity in the mid palate, and really a smooth, kind of a lingering finish. Really quite fun. So I'm going to get back and enjoy a little bit more of this Petillant Naturel, and I ask that you tune in next time, because soon you'll know wine in no time.